Hello. So I'd like to talk a little bit about relationships today. I've received a few really important lessons that have helped me understand relationships and the way in which I am in relationship with myself and others in a way that has created a lot of freedom and a lot of peace and joy in my life. The first lesson is there is only one relationship. This lesson was offered to me by my teacher in a moment when I was struggling in a romantic relationship, and my thoughts and my focus were really heavily on that other person and what they weren't doing well and what I needed them to do and how they didn't understand. And I was really spinning in this nexus of believing that the only way things would be better was if this person did something different. And so in that way, the fate of the relationship I had squarely put in the hands of this other person. And all I could do was wait. Wait with my sadness and my frustration that the relationship didn't feel good. And I didn't know how I could make it feel good because I felt as though I had done everything I could. But in my focus resting on that other person, I lost myself a little bit. I wasn't as honest or direct as I could have been, and I certainly was giving more energy to this other person and to the relationship than I was giving myself. And so in this way, I think it's an interesting thing to consider the nature and the state of our relationship with ourself in the context of relationship with anyone else. If we are not nurturing ourselves the way we need, it is easy to try to elicit that nurturing, elicit those more positive feelings about ourselves from those of us, those that are around us. And I hope for all of us that we have people that make us feel good. And that's a lovely thing to have. If we rely entirely on those people as a source of our knowing of ourselves and our feeling that we are good and that we can create the lives that we want, we lose our power. We lose our strength and ability to perceive ourselves as people who can create it for ourselves. Sure, we will need help. But if I understand myself to be in relationship to me first, then that's where I begin in each moment. And if that healthy relationship is serving me, then I am able to be in relationship with others from a more grounded and centered place that isn't in all moments asking something of the other, but first is present and aware and perceptive in a way that I really believe only comes about through how we nurture and cultivate our sense of ourselves so that we can better communicate. I believe what has motivated me, at least, in my desire to seek out relationship was a desire to feel connected and how good that would feel, how validating that would feel, comforting. For a long time, I really wasn't able to generate any comfort from myself. My mind was a place of anxiety and depression. And so, of course, I sought outside of myself for more positive stories about me, but then I became a little bit dependent on them. As a result, I feared separation in all moments and was really scared of losing people. Because if I lost them, I would be losing that sense that I am good, that I am loved, because that was in reality in those other people at that time. I didn't have that in myself. Another important lesson that came to me was separation is not real. In all moments, we are connected to everything. I feel the deepest, greatest connection to nature in all moments, and have spent time cultivating that relationship so that I can tangibly feel the support of the earth beneath my feet, or the sun shining on my skin, the trees reaching up to the sky, and me having empathy for the process of growing. And in that way, I don't feel alone. And I think it's the same with people, that the separation is an illusion. Yeah, we will lose people. Yes, people die. We will die. But in the moment that I've felt the most heightened experiences of fear of separation, that person has been right there. And in that fear of separation, I have sometimes done or said things that created the reality of separation. And so, as I've brought the idea that separation is not real into my being, I've had a whole lot less to fear. And so I feel a little bit more bold, a little more courageous about what I share, how I communicate. And if I am in relationship with someone who truly loves me and is taking care of themselves, acknowledging they are in their one relationship with self, it shouldn't really threaten the core of why we are connected and how we feel about each other. Unfortunately, sometimes it does. And it can either be an indication of something that's not well somewhere, or just an indication that the relationship has run its course. This is another lesson about relationships that I've really acknowledged. Loss is always there, just on the other side of love. The intensity with which we experience love is matched by the intensity of the loss we feel when that love comes to an end, however it ends. While this is so sad, to me, it was a relief. Not in holding the end of love as something that's inevitable, but in acknowledging that where spring turns to summer and summer turns to fall and the leaves fall from the trees and then it's winter, we're in a constant state of motion and growth and death. And so I actually have come to the place of realizing it would be a little odd if some relationships didn't come to an end. And I feel like we are all engaged in relationships that we enter into knowing they'll come to an end, whether it be a specific job or, working with people on a project within a community, people moving to a new spot. To me, I realized it doesn't mean it has to be such an aggressive end. It doesn't have to be complete and utter loss. Although the sad thing about the end of relationships and breakups in general, unfortunately, at least as I have experienced them, is it does come with this intense separation, this huge life change, where suddenly you were living your life one way in relationship to one person, and then in the next moment it feels like it's all different, if not all gone. It's devastating. It is devastating. But that's partly why I'm sharing this today, is in hopes that the idea that we're in one relationship and we're given this opportunity to create a beautiful relationship with ourselves in service of our relationship to others. Separation is not real, so we don't have to fear so much, and fear to a level that we actually create separation where we don't want it. My hope is that if we can hold those two things, we can be in relationship with people, acknowledge that that relationship might change, but it doesn't need to be cruel. It doesn't need to be as painful as it is. Yes, space and time might be necessary to adjust to the change. Yes, space and time might be asked for in order to integrate that change. And the loving response, if love is where you started in all of this, is to allow for that. Knowing separation isn't real. Knowing if you're nurturing yourself, you have all you need. And so then we can love in such a way that they feel free, which is one of my favorite Thich Nhat Hanh quotes. And I think, the grass is always greener. I always talk to friends who are in relationship, while I'm single, and they're like, oh, you're so lucky you're single. Then I'm in a relationship and they're single, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had somebody, We're always going to be longing for something. And that's part of the adventure of life. But if we can be in this present moment and see, I have a beautiful, wonderful relationship, and I am connected to everything and everyone around me. When I encounter someone in my journey, I can hold them without grasping. I no longer have to hold someone hostage in order to have them remind me who I am and that I'm good. I can hold them gently. I can hold them from a distance. I can be in relationship with them a number of different ways that really honor me and honor them in a way that I believe creates such a richness of love and connection that in the end it has the ability to last forever. So just some thoughts about relationship. I hope you all are doing well. And yeah, I honor your relationship with yourself, and I feel my connection to you in this moment and am grateful for it. Thank you.